try that.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Ian, it doesn't look like you're in roll 20.
Ian. Okay.
It should be in now.
All right.
Yeah, there you are.
While I was doing my technical difficulties pick and formatting it for Zoom, I must have closed out of it.
That's fair. All right.
I think we're ready to go.
Oh, is it recording?
Yes, it looks like it is.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
got the little red button on the top left of the screen.
Huzzah. Got it. All right, y'all. Well, let's get to it. And I am going to make this interesting by putting on a little bit of music. Okay. So in our previous session, the Accidental Alliance found themselves in free fall as the power source for the Laborum Arcanum was sundered by the mysterious individual that the party had encountered in the Goblin Nest, who turned out to be Erdan's sister. As the spherical library fell through the air, she teleported away. The party, in a scramble to stay alive, were forced into a combat with Brother Ansel and five monks from the religious movement known as the Brothers of Penance. The party managed to dispatch Brother Ansel and two of the monks, but the library fell into the capital river, where it began to sink. At which point a new threat made itself known. A water elemental bound to the protection of the river struck out against you. The party desperately tried to escape in a battle that nearly claimed the lives of both Fleur and Moira. If not for the powerful magical talents of Rizwin and Erdan's, we'll say, strategic cowardice, the party may very well have perished. But Erdan made contact with a 3-foot-tall little frog man who was a knight, who leapt, pun intended, to the party's aid and managed to command the River Guardian to stop. As the party was pulled out of the river, they were slapped in shackles by the Imperial Guard before the knight, announcing himself to be Sir Glenn of Merle, declared that he would lead the party to be interrogated himself. And that brings us to where we are now. For clarity's sake, I'm going to turn that down just a little bit. It's a little loud. For clarity's sake, as you guys are coming up out of the water and the knights have unbound your hands, you notice Nira, who had, during the free fall, fallen into one of the side reading rooms that Archivist Nixon had mentioned to you. She comes floating up the river, astride a particular orange and blue striped couch that, if you all recall, Archivist Nixon had mentioned was from his favorite reading room. It's a very comfy couch, and it doubles as a flotation device. So she is also pulled out of the water, and Sir Glenn turns to all of you and says, I see you all have been in quite an ordeal, but I insist that you must follow me this way, for there are many questions that are going to need to be asked. Please, if you would not mind, handing over your effects, weapons, gear, etc., to my lieutenant here. And he gestures to a tall, copper-skinned man with a bushy mustache who looks at you all expectantly and stretches out a hand. What do you all do?
My hands are not bound, correct?
Not at the moment, no.
I do make a long, courteous bow, and then say, "Pleasure to meet you," and reach out my hand.
He kind of shakes himself for a second and reaches out and shakes your hand, and then turns his palm up in like your effects, weapons. You're going to be heading into the White Palace.
But they're important to me.
And Sir Glenn turns and says, "I understand the importance of a man's weapon." And he brushes back his green cloak, and you see a rather resplendent sword on his hip. He goes, "However, protocol must be seen. Upon my word, your effects shall be returned to you."
All right, we have your word, Sir Glenn.
"Upon my word as a knight. This is for the safety of our liege lord, of course."
Okay. Well, Erdan takes off all of his effects, including Titus. Just a little bit longer in the hilt. I'm so sorry, Titus.
What the fuck is going on?
Shh, don't kill you.
Yeah, not if I kill him first. All right. I'll play dumb for now, boss. I'll just pretend I'm a knife.
I appreciate it.
So yeah, you hand over your gear. Does everybody else follow suit?
Grudgingly.
Fleur, you are currently muted.
That is correct. I was muted. Yes, I am handing my things over, even though it is daytime.
What? What? What?
Only the dads are laughing.
Because it's a night?
Yeah.
Oh, ha. He's handing the things over to the night, even though it's daytime.
I hate you.
I love how it dawned on all of us.
Bark hands over his things, sadly.
So does
Moira as well.
All right, so nobody's going to try and fight it. So the lieutenant and the other men in attendance collect your things. Who, Fleur, do you hold the bag of holding? Who carries the bag of holding?
I'd normally carry the bag of holding.
Okay. So they collect all your things, including the bag of holding. Sir Glenn, again, gives you his word that the items will be returned. It's for the safety of the king and the royal family, as well as in the event that you guys do end up getting arrested, you don't fight your way out. So Sir Glenn then gives a stiff bow to the lieutenant and to all of you and says, "Now, if you would please follow me right this way." And he turns. Before he does, he glances over at the 3 soaking wet brothers of penance that are still yet alive. Or sorry, 2 brothers of penance monks that are still alive. And he says, "You two as well, come along." And they kind of give kind of furtive glances to one another and follow along behind everyone. So now, you all start crossing the resplendent wooden and stone bridge that leads over the Capital River, and you find yourselves being led to the castle. As you're all led by this diminutive little green figure with his, armor glistening and his cloak dripping wet from the river's waters, you all look ahead and see the White Palace ahead of you, which is the seat of Christopher Balthasar Windshear, King of Bodos and the Imperator of the Bodosian Empire. And as you are approaching the White Palace, you can see very clearly that that is its name for good reason. The building is constructed almost entirely out of marble, and it has a whole bunch of like these, I believe they're called friezes, like relief carvings, that are accented with platinum. So it's all very shiny and gorgeous. Behind you are the other monks, and all of you, on either side of you, you're being escorted by a line of soldiers. Ahead of you is Sir Glenn, and as you approach the keep, you see two great doors, intricately carved. They look like they are some kind of oak. They almost stand out against the white of everything else. You can make an assertion that it's possible that they were a gift from the elves, or they were taken from the elves, or whatever, but it looks like elven craftsmanship. Up in front of the doors, there's these two knights in blue and silver tabards, which, as you can see by the banners hanging and whatnot, blue and silver are the house colors for the kingdom. Sir Glenn speaks to them quietly, and they open the doors. And inside, you all see a grand hall. Now, if the exterior of the palace is marvelous, the interior is absolutely breathtaking. There's marble walls, there's statues, very Romanesque, different statues of people in various poses and warriors and nymphs and all that. The floor is actually rather breathtaking because it's a mosaic of these tiny, intricately carved tiles. They're each only like an inch square or maybe 2-inch square. And there are all these different colors, but they form these patterns that lead to the center of the hall, where they form in blue and silver a symbol called the Binding Hands, which is like a symbol that flies on the pennant of the empire. It's these two hands kind of crossed with a rope kind of binding their wrists together, and one is holding a sword and the other is holding a sheaf of wheat. And it's the symbol of the empire, nations bound together in war and harvest. Now, as you guys are entering this great hall, there is kind of like a side hall that goes off into an antechamber, and you guys are all brought to a series of simple rooms down the one hallway. And then Sir Glenn turns to you and says, I would ask that you all sit patiently in one of the proffered rooms. I will be asking you all a few questions and would rather do so individually if you do not mind. Thank you very much for your participation and your cooperation in this endeavor. We are trying to get to the bottom of a tragedy, disaster, and making sure that you all as survivors have laid witness as to what may have happened inside of the Librorum Arcanum when it fell. So he holds up his hand and gestures at a line of doors. So you all can choose to enter one of the rooms. The monks are also being led to one of the rooms. And inside each one of the rooms, it's very much like an interrogation room that you see on a, like a police drama or whatever, where there's a table and a couple chairs. You know what I mean? They're simple rooms. They're lit with little wall sconces. Do you guys have anything that you want to say or do, or do you just want to go in and sit?
Are we being held voluntarily?
Well, you're not in shackles. The fact is, something happened, and we need to get to the bottom of it. Refusing to cooperate would not look well. But if there is nothing to fear, then it would be a simple asking a few questions as to what it is that you saw inside the Grom Arcanum, and being on your way.
Well, we have members of our party who were injured, members of our party who are a little damp, as you see. Is there any way that we could remedy this?
I myself suppose that is a fair point. You'll excuse me, my duties often have me in a place where I think of action before respite.
Oh, of course. I understand that these matters are urgent, and we, of course, would be glad to help you get to the bottom of what's going on. But I think these conversations may be better had once we are rested a bit, in dry clothes, maybe have some food in us. If such a thing is possible, I wonder if that might be best for all involved. Yourself included, sir.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Rolling a persuasion check. Why did I grab a mouse? Boop, boop, boop. Okay, I don't do this with Roll20 ever. How do I roll?
If you go to the left side of the screen, there is a little symbol that looks like a d20. And if you click on that, it'll give you all the various dice options.
So I roll a d20.
Yeah, you click the d20 and you add whatever your
Oh, I have
persuasion
to turn my internet back on to get to my...
modifier is.
You'll bear with me, folks. My apologies. Because, yeah, I think I have to turn my Wi-Fi back on to get into that app.
Does anyone want to attempt to give her the help action in some way?
Moira will start coughing and just grip her side on one of her injuries. Be like, I'm not feeling super great, so some food would be fantastic.
Okay.
Now that you mention it, I am bleeding from my chest.
Oh, Dred! I'm
So go ahead
pressing
and roll
buttons.
with advantage.
I have a guidance,
Bring out your bed.
and will that help with her persuasion?
Well, yeah, I mean, technically it would, but with the what am I looking for? Advantage, that'll do the trick. He looks around and for the first time realizes, like, he was all business. Like, he jumped in the water, talked to a invisible sea monster, and then got out and was like, oh, this is my job. I got to figure this shit out. He looks around and goes, dear me, you all really hurt, aren't you? Upon my word, my apologies. Yes. Follow me this way. And he turns and starts walking off and leads you all again back through the main hall and into a side where there are like officers' barracks and like a mess hall. And he says, please, do get some rest. You will excuse guards, just to make sure that you're reputable characters. And in the meantime, we will halt our interaction for the morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Glenn.
Of course, my lady. And he bows and kind of croaks and turns on his heel. This guy is so military man, right? Like everywhere he's walking, like you have not seen him slouch once. You know what I mean? He's the kind of guy that's got to stick up his ass at all times.
When I had the factory reset my phone, my character sheet was destroyed.
Oh no. All right, we can roll Nira back out. That won't be hard.
Well, that's devastating. Okay, sorry, don't mind me. Yeah.
Yeah, she had to do a factory reset on her phone yesterday, and didn't account for the fact that the character is on there. But anyway, he turns, and then as he's walking, he does pause, and he looks over at Tup Tup, who has been kind of keeping his head out and trying to stick next to Fleur this whole time, hiding in his shadow. But obviously, there's only so much you can do. And given the fact that you guys were in a river, the makeup that he put on himself to make him look less goblinoid is not exactly working. So he goes, "You, little one." And Tup Tup kind of glances at him funny because they are absolutely the same height. Yes, Lord. And he leans in kind of conspiratorially to Tup Tup. He goes, "I have no particular disregard for your kind. However, these are particularly difficult times. I would stress that you stay close to your compatriots." And then stiffens his surcoat and turns on his heel and marches out. And you guys are in a like a bunkhouse, basically. There's a door off to the side that leads to a mess hall. It doesn't sound like there's anyone really in there right now. This is all taking place kind of in the middle of the afternoon at this point. So, people are off doing things. You assume that there will probably be a meal later. So, party, you have the night to yourselves. You guys want to discuss?
Just so everybody knows, I am out of spell slots and we have not rested.
Good point.
Do we have any, so all of our effects, like what is on me? Is it literally just like my clothes? Do I have anything at all?
Yeah, they basically took your weapons and any like magical items you'd have. I would make the argument that like the token of the gambler is like a holy symbol sort of thing, so like they wouldn't really take that from you. Anything that they might presume is like a weapon. So realistically, your weapons and the bag of holding, and like things that are in your pack that could be used as a weapon, right? Like adventure packs tend to have things like a crowbar or shit like that.
Rope. Although I think mine went down with the orb. Anyway, guys, who has the note from the lord of that town we saved?
I don't.
That might come in handy here.
A testament to our good character.
Indeed.
That AA is for good people? I'm underneath the impression that we should not try any funny business here. I believe we should all be exceedingly honest and keep our stories consistent.
I have to ask you all an interesting question right now. That note, where was it?
Would we have thrown it in the bag of holding where we throw everything? Oh,
I
fun.
believe, no, probably not, but I believe we showed it to a guard when we entered, and he's like, oh, you guys should go up to the upper city, but I don't recall who showed it to him, and I don't recall if we specified where that note went
Can't
afterwards.
you search the notes?
Hang tight. That's what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
Let's see, note. There's a note in a bandit's pocket. Nope.
Are you doing a
I
word
think it would have been at the
search?
beginning of last session. No, not 2 sessions ago. Hold on. The beginning of session 12.
Doesn't find anything of a note.
Searching guard.
I
We
don't,
should note.
I don't recall anyone specifying what they did with it after showing it to the guard.
Yeah, I don't know if it wasn't in the
Yeah.
document as a note.
It just says, we move on through the city toward the next tier of the city, massive wall. We come to a more ornate gate than the previous gates. The guards stop us, but let us through due to the writ of passage. And then he talks to us about where we should go. When you're in the cloud tier, don't approach or talk to anyone, blah, 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 blah. We don't say anything about what we did with it or who was holding it beforehand.
Okay, so I'm going to ask, just honestly, do you think you guys would have kept the writ of passage on you so that you can show it quickly and easily, or would you have put it back in the back?
I would have kept it close, but I don't think
Yeah, it would have been in someone's pocket,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
imagine.
My guess would have been that it would have been probably with Erdan because he's like the, scholarly dude. And probably
The one who does
a
the talking for
story
us.
guy. I'd probably like hold the note upside down, like, we're the good guys.
Okay. Well then, Erdan. Erdan, I'm going to ask you to roll 2 things for me. First, I'm going to ask you to roll me a pure luck check.
Just D20?
This is D20.
Well,
Oh,
Okay. Now I'm going to want you to roll me a D100. Okay. So the good news is because you rolled above 10 in your luck check, 17% of the writ of passage was water damaged, not 83% of the writ of passage. So due to the water, some of it is messed up, but and tore away, but the majority of it is still there.
all right. Does somebody want to present this who's better with people? I shook somebody's hand who is asking for my weapon.
I thought you did that on purpose.
No, I'm just socially unaware.
I can talk to them, I suppose.
And I just stick it behind her ear.
I mean,
Erdan's acting kind of funny, you guys.
But humans like things behind their ears. They're very useful. And I elongated elf here. They're very useful. Put things behind them. It would be rude just to put it in her hand. Come on, think logically.
No, my hand is where I would prefer it.
There's nothing that makes this better.
Steal things with your hand. You need them open for fighting, or I don't know where they've been.
I don't typically steal things, Erdan. You can place things in my hand. I promise it's acceptable.
Okay.
They're
Right.
currently empty.
Take it out of the hand. All right, is that satisfactory?
Is it satisfactory to stick it behind her ear?
Put it back into her hands. Now go do the talky things, where you are charming, whatever.
Do I do that now? Because, I mean, it's just
Could we
the
take a
guards.
short
I gotta
rest,
figure-
perhaps?
Why not wait until
Well,
the
we-
morning after we've healed?
I was thinking you could play up your injuries a little bit, cough, do the, we've been through such an ordeal.
Erdan,
Great people.
it would be one thing if my injuries were minor, but I almost died. I kind of want to take a bit of a nap and kind of think about the futility of life for a little bit, if that's cool with you.
Existential crises are important, so go for it. Okay.
Thanks. I'm like, there's no playing up these injuries. I'm not doing great, my guy.
Yeah, we've been unconscious and back conscious again.
And then unconscious again, and then back conscious again.
Yes.
Yes, twice. Twice nearly dead. I'm doing okay. All right, so I propose we eat some food and rest a while before we attempt to negotiate our way out of this mess.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Tup Tup, you feel like cooking some food?
Well, you don't normally talk to someone good in the kitchen. But I feel like I should probably just hide under a bed. I don't feel safe here at all. You all
Here,
heard what
Tuck
that
Tuck,
little program
why don't-
said.
Would you feel more comfortable if you looked a little bit more human? We can do the makeup thing again if that just makes you feel more comfortable. Like, I know that the guards kind of already probably know, but it won't bring attention to you.
I would like that very much, yes. And he turns and looks, and by the door, which is open currently, like there's a guard standing right outside the door, and he's like, because I don't trust them.
Well, you don't have to worry. I will protect you.
Thank you, Mr. Fleur.
We'll make sure, we'll push some beds together tonight, and you can sleep between us, and nobody will touch you without us.
Fleur, question for you, Fleur. Where is your wooden block?
What?
Talking to a child.
Where is your demonic block of wood?
It's on my belt thingy.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure that you had that.
Yep.
No, Daddy, it's a shield.
That might be why.
Did it just get really quiet for everyone?
My own curlers.
We were admiring the sweet, sweet innocence of the youth.
Beautiful thing.
I'm sorry, Erdan, were you asking Fleur about his wooden thing?
Yeah, I wanted to make sure you still had it on him.
Oh, yeah. There's no reason why
Yeah.
the guards would have taken just a random block of wood.
Yeah.
No, just double checking.
Again, they didn't like strip search you guys, right? They asked you to hand over your things. It was kind of like, I'm trusting you to do the right thing here.
Damn it, should have kept a dagger up my butt.
In your butt.
Is
All right,
there?
I'm gonna make you roll for damage.
Literally every step.
I mean, he's kind of uptight, so it's like, stick up your butt.
Is there food in the mess hall for us, or are we like working with our own rations? Like, what's the deal with the?
Well, if you guys go through the doorway and enter the mess hall, you do smell something cooking for sure. Yes.
Can their chef please be named Rock?
How did you not see that coming?
Y'all catch that?
No.
I was thinking it, and I knew that's what her face was as well.
Way over my head. I'm so confused.
Oh God, I love it! I'm so proud.
So
No,
you
That
guys
is very
can
good.
roll
what the rock is
cooking.
cooking.
I asked if there was going to be food in the mess hall, and Ben said if we go through the doors, we'll smell something cooking. And Riley couldn't help herself. Okay, so how long do we have?
The phrase of the rock. Can you smell what the rock is cooking?
Oh, I barely understand that reference.
Hey man, I do. I just do. So here we are.
You're so little.
He has the same age as me.
How long do we have to rest for me to be able to have my spells back? Tell me Ben heard me. Hey Ben, how
Names before the moment you guys meet them.
Every so often I have to remind you why you love me.
So anyway, do you guys want to enter the mess hall?
I'm not sure. Does Candace need to do a short or long rest for any spell slots?
I believe clerics are only on a long rest.
Okay. So how long is that?
8 hours.
8 hours. Like a full night's sleep.
Okay.
Okay, we can split up. I'm happy to go and raid the mess hall and tell our frogman, like, oh, well, when you let us back here, we thought it was help ourselves. We didn't realize that there was a scheduled mealtime. We're so sorry for any inconvenience. We'll gladly pay you back for what we ate if you catch us and have a problem with it. Because if we're guests and we're helping you, of course you'd want us to eat.
Oh, he let us here.
Bingo. I'm going to go raid his fridge.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think we should
I'm
eat.
starving.
I thought I could smell what the rock was cooking. Might as well just eat that.
Let's do it.
While we're doing that, I'd like to expend a hit die.
Oh yeah, you guys can take a short rest for sure.
Huh, yeah, I'll do that. I'll spend a 3 hit die. Why not?
All right, well, my happy self floated down a river for our, last encounter. So I'm happy to go and raid and bring back provisions.
Well, I feel like we should go into the mess hall and behave like civilized people who would sit down and eat at the table because they seem to be civilized here.
I mean, that's fair. I was just thinking if you guys need to rest, I'd be glad to,
Eating is considered part of a short rest.
for the next 8 hours in this spot on the floor. So, we gotta go eat.
Okay.
All right, so is everybody going into the mess hall then?
Yeah, I'll go.
All right. So you guys all leave the bunk room and go through the side door and enter a rather large room that has many tables at it. If anyone's ever been to like a summer camp sort of thing, a la, the long bench-like tables. And there is a kitchen at the far end with a big-ass cauldron on a fire. Smells like some kind of a stew. You can also smell what you would assume to be bread baking in perhaps an oven further in. The room is relatively empty. There are a couple guards sitting at a table playing cards. You assume that they're maybe not on their particular shift. but they're kind of off to the corner. They eye you up kind of curiously, but then get back to their game. There is the guard that was at the door, having heard you guys walk out of the room, you turn behind you and can see that he's just kind of standing by the doorway now. Looks like he's just not going to be that far away from wherever y'all are hanging out. But he's not like up in your business. He's just there to keep an eye and make sure you're not just wandering the castle. Coming from behind the kitchen with a large wooden spoon, a wooden spoon that you could argue is maybe a quarterstaff or an oar, is a full-on Firbolg man. Gigantic, fuzzy blue with long reddish hair, nose squat and flat like a deer's with long ears, stands about 8 feet tall. Gigantic person. Comes around from the back holding this huge wooden spoon, and he has like a chef's hat on. He turns and looks at you and says, well, hi there. You a lot hungry?
Very, yeah.
Hey,
Hamish, sir.
I have 2 bags of cookies right here.
Oh, splendid. Well, the bread isn't quite done yet, but the stew's on. And he takes his huge ass wooden spoon and starts stirring this cauldron. And then he just pulls the thing out and kind of has to whip it to get all of the bits of hot stew off the spoon. And you notice that there is like a hanging towel that is just covered in soup stains. So clearly this is his method. He pulls the soup spoon out, whips it across this towel, and then flings it over his shoulder and walks back into the back. And comes back out with a collection of like earthenware bowls and starts ladling out some stew. Does everybody here drink or eat meat?
Yes.
Oh, good. Elk stew is on the menu tonight.
Yeah.
Pardon, did he say elf stew?
Elk,
Oh,
you know,
oh,
like an elk.
thank you. Dear God. Okay. Dear gods, I should say. This is not monotheistic. Sorry.
Hey, whichever ones you want to pray to, that's your business. But don't you worry, I'm not picking up any of you little fellas.
Lovely.
So he
Erdan the Tiny Man.
he just he lays bowls up his massive Firbolg arm from shoulder to hand and just starts ladling stew into all these bowls all the way down, and then with his puts the ladle in, and with his other hand he just grabs up so many like clay mugs. There's enough for everyone, and it's just like all in one grasp. This guy clearly does this all the time. Comes over, lays down all the clay mugs, and just starts from the shoulder down, laying out bowls of stew in front of all of you. And he goes, yeah, you look like you're a little beat up there. Why don't you go ahead and, have a bite to eat? I'll be right back with some beer. And turns and walks back into the kitchen once more and comes back with a keg of beer. And from which he starts filling up the mugs. What brings you lot to the castle?
Well,
What was that?
the library, we were inside of it.
Oh, dear me. I heard about that. It fell right out of the sky, did it?
It did just, whoo. It's great shame. Great.
God's alive. I was in there getting a cookbook just yesterday. Could have been me.
Yeah, who knows? It could have happened at any time. I thank you for the stew and beer. This is greatly appreciated by all of us. We're, as you can imagine, quite beaten up.
Ah, yeah. Well, we don't usually get a lot of visitors in here that aren't guards, so I figured y'all needed something, and I'm happy to help. This is my job and my passion. If y'all need anything else, just give me a holler. I'll be back in the kitchen working on the bread. My name's Biardi.
What is it? Biardi?
Biardi, yeah. I'm the chef here.
Boyardee. You're laughing so hard that the noise is canceling out and we can't actually hear you through the speakers.
It's a family name.
Fucking guy.
Anyway, first name's Rock. I'll see you later. This mountain of a blue fuzzy man walks back towards the kitchen, whistling some tune from some language that you guys are not familiar with, unless anybody speaks giant.
We deserve each other, I'll have you know.
I just turn to everybody and say, he seemed very nice, but I'm immediately suspicious of everything, so who wants to try this first?
I already ate the whole bowl.
You ate including the bowl?
He didn't have any bread to wash it down with.
Just kidding.
Okay, was the bowl delicious as well?
Could have used a little more salt.
Fair enough. Okay.
Did Flirt eat the bowl?
Yeah.
Of course.
Hang on, is that a joke, or did you actually eat an earthenware bowl?
It's organic.
I sense a constitution roll coming.
Yeah.
Right. Constitution saving throw.
If you die because you ate a fucking bowl and cut up your insides, like, we'll be so mad. Especially if that means that your damn wood chip is activated.
Thank you. Oh, that's not good. All right.
Flirt.
You're going to damage.
You're gonna be so constipated.
Two slashing damage as shards of earthenware bowl scratch up your esophagus. I'm
How
gonna
much
make
is
you
that?
I'm going to make you roll several more Constitution saving throws now over the next 24 hours while you pass this thing.
Yes.
All right, party. Well, you have some time now. Like I said, there's no one that's kind of hanging over you. So if you guys want to discuss kind of conspiratorially, I would allow you to do so without necessarily being overheard, at least not to village.
So we have two options. We have the option of coming up with a lie that we collectively recite, or we have the option of telling the truth. If anybody deviates from the story, they're going to know that one of us is going to lie, and they're most likely going to pick up on that. I say we tell them the truth, which I have the least to gain in that situation, and we'll take the fall.
We didn't do anything wrong. I mean, we were visiting a library just as a sightseeing tour before we stopped at the castle. And we so happened to run into an apparent criminal who did criminal activity, and we did nothing wrong but defend ourselves.
At the library.
Yes. We
happened to liberate a book that we saw floating by.
We were sightseeing.
Did we lose the book?
No.
But it's in the bag of holding.
What are you doing?
They're gonna want to know what happened because this thing is not just gonna drop out of the sky.
Yeah, I mean, we can tell them what we saw. Someone stabbed the thing in the middle and poof, and then it fell down and we all started running,
I think we should be as honest as possible.
which is honest. That's what we saw.
Yeah, and we don't know the poofer. I
And
mean, as a group, we don't know her.
Dan, you're going to be the one interrogated the longest about this.
Do we even know her? Besides, like, Erdan knows her, obviously, but the rest of us, did we even see her?
We
I-
met her once before in the Goblin Den. We've met her.
I think what Rizwin's trying to say is, I did not see a woman at the library.
Nope. We split up to go look for the book, didn't we? I don't think I was standing next to anybody when anybody popped in.
Same.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember where I was.
Oh, you okay?
I was there with Mr. Erdan, and I would suppose that if we wanted to, try to be stealthy, you might try your Bluetooth. Maybe
They're going to see us doing that.
no, that's just like a little tug and because they can't
You have
hear
to
us.
talk.
We're just talking to each other right now, right?
Right, but if we were using the Bluetooth in the interrogations, like,
No, not in the interrogation right now.
Well, Ben said we can talk conspiratorially, freely, so we are.
Yeah.
Whoa,
What I'm
whoa.
saying is-
Let me back up and clarify that language, because this guy said that we would not be overheard to our knowledge, which means that there could very easily be somebody hanging out in the hallway or back with the rock, and we would not know it until such a time as said person was to say, I just happened to pass the mess hall and heard. I see it. I see your
Okay.
face.
I'm
That
going to
face
maintain
says
that I
exactly
didn't
what you meant.
exactly what happened because I was not paying attention to the people around me at the time when the whole thing got crazy.
Well,
So-
what I'm saying is that I put my Bluetooth into the lady's pocket,
Oh,
Erdan's sister.
what?
you did?
Yes, I did. So maybe,
Wait, did you actually?
yes, I did.
No, you attempted to. You succeeded on your stealth roll. You flubbed your sleight of hand check. She felt you attempting to jam something in her pocket.
Yeah. So she knows it's there.
Did it go in the pocket?
Yeah, it went in the pocket. She
Ben,
knows I put it
I'm
there.
asking Ben because if you failed your roll, then she might have said no and slapped it out.
She
I
never
was
said
working
that.
under the assumption that she felt a hand near her and turned before you were able to get it in her pocket.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
That's fair, but usually when you fail a roll, it means you don't get to do the thing you want to do.
Oh no.
So where's your Bluetooth, Blair?
Doesn't have it.
So it's fair to say she doesn't have the Bluetooth.
I'm going to go ahead and make the ruling that if you fail a sleight of hand check, you just don't do the thing you're trying to do.
Okay.
I think it's fair to say that we should assume that it's very possible we're being overheard regardless of if a guard is nearby or not. So us even talking about this could be maybe not great.
I said what I said.
I mean, there's nothing I could see them arresting us for.
No, absolutely.
We were witness to a crime. We didn't make the ball fall. Somebody else did. We were just witness to it.
Yep.
In fact, we tried to convince her. Well, I don't know if I know this because I don't remember where I was. But I believe Erdan tried to stop her.
But do any of us actually know that, or did we, the rest of us, besides Erdan and Fleur, who was apparently with Erdan, did the rest of us just know that suddenly we were in a battle?
Hold on, I'm going up to see where everybody was.
Okay.
As I recall, the only 3 people that were in the aisle was Erdan, Fleur, and Tup Tup, because Tup Tup sticks to Fleur like glue.
Okay, and even though we've seen her before, I don't think that any of us knew who she was. So if we saw her again, briefly across a room both times, I don't know that I would be able to, pick her out and say that's a person of significance. You're gonna fall, crazy cat. Stop. Sorry, cat.
Okay, so the only ones that witnessed the interaction with Erdan's sister was Fleur, Erdan, and Top Top. The rest of us were elsewhere. So there's nothing really for us to say. The ball started falling. I guess at this point we'd be finding out why the ball fell.
So really, it's up to Erdan if he wants to tell us while we're sitting here or
Well,
not.
that's the thing. He doesn't know why it was. He just knows that, this lady stabbed it and it fell. That's it.
Erdan, can you,
The truth.
I don't know if you want to, maybe we should wait until after our interrogations for you to fill us in about your sister, because I think that's probably for the best. The less we know, the better.
Is this in character, out of character?
In character.
Okay, fair enough. There isn't much to say.
Yeah, she didn't tell us what or why she was doing what she was doing. She just said it was a bad time, and that was about it,
Is Tup Tup going to be interrogated by himself?
I don't think that's a good idea.
You can make that assumption, yes.
Maybe now is a good time for him to go hide in a cupboard.
Well, they're still going to want to ask him.
I think maybe, could we see if we can arrange for one of us to get interrogated first, and then afterwards they can interrogate Tup Tup as long as one of us is in the room and promises to stay silent? I don't feel comfortable leaving Tup Tup alone.
No, me either.
Like, I will sit in the room and promise to be totally quiet, but I'm not leaving that goblin alone in this castle.
It seemed like they had multiple rooms, so we can also make the assumption that it would be several of us being interrogated at once, if not all of us. Or if they do it one by one, then one person can maybe suss out some of the questions and prepare everybody else for it, possibly discreetly in some fashion with Bluetooth.
I think just trying to be as legit as possible is the best course of action. If we try any nefarious means, it might undermine our reliability,
Agreed.
As you are all having this conversation, 2 more individuals enter the mess hall from a separate room, a second doorway. The mess hall itself is a big circle, and there's many different doors from the various barracks rooms that lead into it. And the individuals that walk in are the 2 brothers of penance monks that survived the battle. They sit down at a table far on the other side of the room. Once again, Chef Boyardee comes out and does his spiel with them and brings them food and beer. They are also here.
Well, I do believe since I've already finished the meal, we should probably go relax and take a nap.
Does anybody want to invite the monks to the cool kids table? Or do you think we should stay far away from them?
Why are we fighting with the monks?
They did attack us and then run away and refuse to help us.
Given the circumstances, those are very logical courses of action.
Hmm. I'm not inclined to invite them, but I won't stop you.
I don't think I'm going to be the right one. I killed their friend, so.
They tried to kill us.
I don't think talking to them before we all get interrogated is a good idea. That's how I feel about that.
Probably not a good idea. That's why I think we should go take a rest.
Can we roll a perception check to try and eavesdrop and see what they're saying? Because it might be helpful to know what they are talking about before we go into the interrogation room. Like, I wouldn't mind reading from the other team's playbook.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Say that again?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I said anyone who wants to roll a perception check to try and hear them. I will say that this is a pretty high DC because they're sitting across a room.
I rolled an 18.
I have a 19. Or sorry, 17. I have a 17.
Ooh, we got some pretty good rolls here, boys.
Good rolls for the boys.
Nat 20, boy.
Oh, fucking Bark.
So they like invite Bark over to the table.
Bark trains his. 'Cause realistically, I was only going to give this if someone hit fucking Nat 20. Bark trains his ears, trained by so many hours spent in the woods following the trail of the slightest step of a deer. Your ears can pick up fucking anything. And you hear the two monks whispering among each other. It's hard to fully make out the entire conversation, mainly because I'm not going to just have a conversation with myself here in front of all of you. But what I will say is that the gist that you get is that they went to the library to basically protest arcane knowledge. And then shit popped off and they didn't know what to do. They saw you guys, you had weapons, they also were like, fuck, okay, these guys are attacking us, we're attacking them, let's fight. But with that Nat 20, you also hear them talking about the information that also Bark, also roll me an insight check. Okay. You also hear something them mention the priestess, but you don't know what that is, like what that exactly means. But you do hear them mention the priestess a couple times. And I mean, that's what you're going to get from across the room.
Okay. Do I get the feeling like if I were to whisper to my colleagues here that they'd be able to pick it up?
I mean, if you guys are whispering, it'd probably be all right.
Okay. So I say, guys, bring it in. I got something to tell you. I heard those monks talking, and they initially were going to the library for a protest against arcane knowledge, but it sounds like they're kind of blaming it on us to a degree because we had weapons and they were reacting to that. But you mentioned a priestess a couple times. I don't know what they were talking about exactly, but this priestess sounds like important to them.
Wonder if it was my sister.
You have a sister?
Yeah, I thought I established this, but yes, I have a sister.
Okay. Why would they be talking about your sister?
Well, you know how I saw her in the cave with the people, with some ancient creature. I'm the first. Yeah,
The hooded figure that looked at you funny. Yes. Okay.
that was my sister. I feel like I confessed this very dramatically. Maybe not dramatically enough.
Perhaps not. It seems to have slipped my mind.
Well, please feel shocked if you Thank you. That makes me feel much better. Yes. So maybe they're talking about my sister being some type of evil priestess, but well, I don't know.
Well,
Maybe there's priestess of their order.
Could she be working with them? Like, is that possible?
Very possible. If they were just at the protest, then maybe it's just I'm drawing false conclusions. We need to know more, but maybe not right now.
Because we're about to be
Yes.
interrogated.
By who? Who?
You know Erdan.
No. Oh, I thought you were saying right now. Not right now. Okay.
Interrogated.
Back
So
in.
we should probably stop all of the sharing of the information until after we've been interrogated.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, you took off to go deal with the small creature and missed some of the conversation.
I've been spacing out a little bit. The food is sitting quite heavy.
Bark is high off his ass.
I think Chef Boyardee sprinkled a little special oregano on top of the soup.
Me. I'm Chef Boyardee, and I will take that. I will get that tattooed. I will get that on a T-shirt.
Got that holy ravioli.
Ayo. So,
Erdan.
I'm not a fan of that, by the way.
Erdan, as you guys are having this discussion, please do roll me an insight check.
Let's see what that would be. It's just a +1, so it's just gonna be 9.
Okay. Don't worry about it then. All right. Do you guys want to retire to your rooms and get some rest?
I would like to petition the guard to see if I would be allowed to retrieve a book from our bag of holding.
Okay. You'd like to approach the guard?
Yeah.
Okay. As you approach, you see that the man standing by the doorway, he's a younger man, maybe early 20s. Kind of has some light stubble on his face. He's kind of an olive-skinned guy with dark hair. Handsome, but not overly so. And he stands up at attention as you approach.
Show him your boobs.
All just like message cantrip. Show it your boobs.
I think I'm bleeding from my chest.
We it's funny because we can still
Mira whispers into the Bluetooth, like, I think he likes your boobs. You should try that.
Could I, hello, dear sir. I was hoping I could petition you for a quick favor.
I suppose if it's in my power, what can I do for you?
Our effects were taken from us when we got here, naturally, totally understandable.
Right.
But that included our bag of holding, which does hold about 90% of our effects, and I tend to get bored pretty easily and can use a distraction after the horrifying events of today. And I made a purchase earlier in the day of a book, and I haven't had a chance to get to read it yet. So I was hoping, if it was possible, could I maybe get my book out of the bag, because I don't currently have it on me.
Oh, all right. So you bought a book and then went to a library. That makes complete sense. Roll me a persuasion check, would you?
It's a 13.
Holy shit, you have a plus 10 to persuasion?
Yeah.
Of course you do. Right. Well, I mean, that's a bit unorthodox, isn't it? I don't know if I've ever had someone have their things taken and then has to have a piece of it back.
Just a book. You took our whole bag.
Right. All right. Well, I mean, I suppose I could take a look at it. What's the book called?
I don't remember. It's the one. Hold on. I said that out of character. Sorry.
Are you specifically asking for the Paladin sword?
No. I mean, I was gonna ask about the Gods book, but actually, now that you mention it, maybe both.
We got all night with nothing to do.
So you are asking for the Interrogator's Guide to Extraplanar Deities and Beings, I think is what it was, and the Paladin Sword.
Wait. Oh, hold on. I don't want them to see the Paladin sword. No, I just want the Deities book.
Are you
That's that book.
The Interrogator's Guide to Extraplanar. Whew, that's a heavy. Sounds like a heavy reading, miss.
It's occupational research, and I do like a little flame in my hand.
Oh, shit. Don't fucking do that.
It's a parlor trick. It's fine.
Well, I don't know if you looked around, but you don't exactly find yourself in a fucking parlor.
I turn it into a flower.
Oh, no, that's pretty. Right, so I suppose.
Do you want to keep the flower?
Thank you, miss. I suppose that I could go ask if that would be acceptable. However, if they declare it as some kind of contraband evidence or what have you, I can't guarantee if I'll get it back.
Shit. Okay.
All right. I will. Well, shit. Just give me a minute then, yeah.
Okay.
And he walks over to the two guards that are kind of sitting at a table playing cards, and he whispers to them and gestures over to you guys. And the one kind of rolls his eyes and nods, and they both just sit their cards down and turn to face you, and they just sit there watching you as he walks out the room. You can make the assumption that he asked them to take over his watch for a minute while he goes and asks the question. So, we shall see if he manages to do that.
All right. I'll go sit back down with the party.
Okay. Is there anything else you all want to do before you rest?
Think we're good.
Okay. Well, so, a little bit of time passes as you guys are finishing your meal. Fleur, go ahead and roll me a Constitution saving throw.
Over here.
Okay. Seems like you might have smoothed out the sharp edges with your intestines. You're doing all right. He's just like doing a mild rage just in his bowels.
Yeah, doing my kegels.
God.
But as you gross. But as you guys finish up and head back to the bunkhouse, the young man returns, and under his arm is the book that you requested. I actually had him roll a persuasion check on my end, and he rolled a natural 17. So he's like, well, it took a bit of doing, but here's your book. I told them that you weren't planning on summoning any devils. Please don't make me a liar.
I swear that I will not summon any devils.
It sounds like there's an ellipsis at the end of that sentence. Like, was there a comma, but?
I promise I won't do it while we're here. And I
Right.
don't have any intentions to summon a devil.
All right. Okay. And then he very obviously eyes up Bark and then shrugs and walks away. And Rudy takes his post at just outside the doorway. Is there anything else you all want to do, or are you all ready to take your long rest?
Erdan's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So you all bunk down and sleep, and because you live in a fantasy world, that means that your wounds close and you get more magic for some reason. Upon waking, you find, you hear a knock at the door to the bunkhouse, and the door opens up, and in walks Sir Glenn of Merle. And he's flanked by two men that are wearing his same colors, which is like a deep green, which you assume is perhaps a knightly order, apart from the actual like Imperial Guard. And he goes, right. Sorry, let me get back into croak. I hope everyone has had a good rest.
We have, thank you very much.
As have I. As you can see, I dried my cloak. A very good idea. This. Now, if it would be acceptable to all of you, follow me right this way. And he turns and starts to walk. Moira, sorry, just over the long rest, were you you took the book to read up on it and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess roll me an investigation check to see how far you got through it.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're a good reader.
19.
Okay. Yeah, you in the time that you read before bed, you found that the book has a lot of theory to it, it basically outlines a combination of spells that, when used in conjunction, could summon a being into a magic circle whereby they would be captured and compelled to speak truthfully. It's basically a combination zone of truth, magic circle, and like summon extraplanar being sort of thing. So it's kind of like a combination of different spells and the theory behind how in conjunction these things could be used to, say, interrogate an angel or get some information out of a devil. But what you also gather is that it would be incredibly difficult and would require usage of some pretty powerful magic.
Okay.
So anyway, you guys move on, following back through the chambers till you reach the same area where there is the line of rooms. He goes, now if you would all not mind taking a seat in one of these rooms, I will go retrieve the other two that gathered were not part of your original party, and they will be sat in their own rooms. And then I shall, I know the process might take a bit, but I shall just pop in and ask you all a few questions. To be entirely frank, and he looks around a little bit and kind of like gestures you to lean in. He goes, thank you. You are very tall, and it's good for you to love them. Yes. Anyway, my job is to ensure that the safety of the crown is upheld. To that end, I will not hold back from asking you different questions and using whatever power within my means to make sure that you are telling me the truth. Also to that end, there is a magic at work in these interrogation rooms. The chair in which you sit is enchanted, and it shall compel you to speak honestly. I only tell you this because it is a jarring sensation to not be able to lie, but it is, while it may not be the wisest decision for an interrogator to let someone know, I find it upon my honor to be honest. And if we're going to have an honest conversation, I should let you know that. In any case, please. So for what that means, in all intents and purposes, is when you sit down, you guys are going to be making a wisdom check, because each one of these chairs that you're sitting in is enchanted with the Zone of Truth spell. The Zone of Truth spell, if you fail your check, you cannot consciously lie. However, that does not mean that you can avoid talking. You can basically plead the fifth, right? You can refuse to speak, but you cannot tell a lie. However, if you succeed on your wisdom check, you can do whatever the fuck you want, and they wouldn't be any the wiser. So, if you guys all find a room.
Are we going to try to keep Top with one of us?
Is Tup Tup hiding somewhere? I hope.
I mean, they know how many of you there were, so Tup Tup wouldn't have been able to hide without them freaking out and searching the grounds for a loose goblin.
I think just trying to keep him with us is probably the best course of action.
I mean, if one of you guys wants to try and persuade them, I'm not going to stop you from trying.
Sir Glenn, could I possibly I know we're not in the best situation to make a request of you, but I'm going to trouble you with the request anyways. So, as you can understand, our little goblin friend here is very dear to us, and I know you said yesterday that you didn't have any particular disregard, but for our own interests, we would very much rather not leave Tap Tap alone. Would it be possible that he were to be kept in the room with one of us during the interrogation? He will stay quiet during the other person's interrogation, and the other person will stay quiet during his interrogation, but we do not want to leave him unattended just because of the prejudices that exist against his race.
Aha. Well, go ahead and roll me a persuasion check. Oh, fuck, that's what it is.
26.
26. I find those terms to be quite stunning. To be fair, given the enchantment upon the chair, it's not like it makes much of a difference. It's more about keeping everybody. It's more about convenience. I will allow this. However, it would be clear that he will also answer questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Very well. And he nods at you and nods at Tup Tup and then gestures towards the rooms.
Tap Tap, who would you be most comfortable going into the room with?
Well, I like to stay with Mr. Fleur because he's big and strong.
Okay.
And he can protect Tup Tup.
Okay.
You got it.
Go
dude.
ahead, Miss Fleur.
Okay. So you guys each find a room. I am going to do this the easy way and just roll a d6 and see who gets interrogated first. Oh yeah, that's right. Everyone's going to have to roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Looks like Erdan's telling the truth.
I rolled a 15.
Okay.
Plus whatever mine would have been, which is high.
The number you're trying to beat is 13.
Is this a saving throw, Ben?
Yeah, wisdom saving throw.
Yeah.
So Riswin saves, Moira saves, Mira saves. Jesus Christ. You guys are saving left and right. Big rolls tonight.
Holy shit, the one person that needed to save didn't.
Is Erdan the only one that failed? Because Tup Tup rolled a natural 19.
God damn it.
I mean, he's an honest guy anyway, but
Or
Can we all just marvel at the fact that Fleur saved here?
yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, like, come on, like, that's like my highest roll, like,
Like everything he rolled last session was 2, I think.
yeah, I'm gonna say like 2s and 3s.
Stars of clay in your anus. But can we just point out the fact that Riley just told me one of the best jokes I think I've ever heard? Go on, repeat it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
She said, call us Golden Corral because we're serving up big rolls.
I think you give me too much credit. I really do.
Oh, and because this is fucking poetic as shit, I am just going based on my screen here, right? So 1 is Riley, 2 is Nikki, 3 is Greg, 4 is Ian, 5 is Steven, 6 is Candace, and I rolled a 4. So, Erdan, you're up first, buddy.
If he's the only one who can't lie, this is not bad for us. So, are you gonna make us all leave?
I could. I'm not going to.
Okay.
Just because I was going to stretch out the runtime of this. So, Sir Glenn enters the room. There are a couple guards that are just standing by the door, but he enters in and closes the door behind himself, so the guards are standing on the outside of the door. He sits down at the chair across the table from you, and he says, "Would you mind stating your name?"
Erdan Quirion.
And Erdan, well, let me get some details out of the way. You are a high elf,
Yes.
correct? And what is your age?
My age is. I like to say that I'm 100. I'm really 111.
Very well. You'll excuse me, it's very often hard to tell with, your particular heritage. In any case, Erdan, what do you do?
Well, I've been, for most of my life, a troublemaker. Recently, I think what I've done is found purpose, but mainly that is in the company of my compatriots here. We saved the town together. We delved into a dungeon. Just basic adventuring is what I do at this point.
Yes, I have heard rumors of an adventuring party that helped in the defense of Port Darrow. That was you?
That was us.
Ah, splendid. Beautiful town. You were for the Pike Festival then, yes?
Pardon, I couldn't hear you.
You were there for the Pike Festival then, yes?
Yes, we were. It was interesting. Very lively.
Good. I wish I could have gone myself, but this year other duties called upon me.
We could have used your help.
Believe you me, I would have been in there in the melee with you. It's been far too long since I've seen any action. But in any case, what brought you to the Librorum Arcanum yesterday?
This is going to be outside a character, if that's okay.
Sure.
If I talk, I have to say specifically exactly why, correct? I can't just say a part of it.
You have to, and I can double check the exact wording of Zone of Truth. To my knowledge, what it states is you cannot lie.
Does that count lies of omission?
Well, that's what I'm checking right now.
Yeah.
I have to double check the actual wording on the spell. In effect, on a failed save, a creature can't speak a deliberate lie while in the radius. Such a creature can be evasive in its answers as long as it remains within the boundaries of the truth.
Well, the Librorum Arcanum was an amazing library filled with all of the knowledge of the world, and I am an academic, and I was in search of knowledge. we went there to see what it, just experience it, to find knowledge. And for adventures, for me, a book is an adventure. This was a chance to fulfill one of my greatest passions.
Reading, a passion for you then.
It is. And just being surrounded by this would have been fantastic. Just being able to say I was there was amazing.
Very well. Now, another question. Did you witness whatever incident caused the damage of the power to be lost from the Labor Marcon?
Yes. There was a person who stood on the center of, I don't even know what it exactly was. I guess it was the power mechanism, and plunged a sword into it, and I cut off the power supply.
That is very peculiar. Did you get a good look at this person?
I did. They looked like they were, I believe they were female. An elf themselves.
Are there any other details that you can tell me about this person?
Erdan just shakes his head.
I'd argue that is a deliberate lie.
Okay. Trying to think of a detail that he can say.
Approximate weight. Like, these are things that you would know being the sibling, right?
Well, just looking.
I believe
Him right now, like over the table.
it was a rapier, correct? That she used.
Yes, it was a rapier.
Okay. This woman was wearing dark cloaks, and she plunged specifically a rapier into the center of this device, making it even more peculiar. Such a weak weapon.
Well, it must have been some sort of magical in order to dispel the field of the arcane core. That's good information. Are there any? Can you describe this individual, what they look like, so that I can get a better idea of who I'm looking for?
Certainly. I forget the exact details of what my sister looks like. This is me talking above board. But I would explain him as much detail.
That's fine. I don't think you ever actually gave a physical description of her.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But let me ask you an honest question. How much family resemblance is there?
I mean, hair color. I'm going to be a little bit taller than her, but not by much. Probably a fair bit of family resemblance.
Okay. Oh, nearly sounded like you described yourself there. Now, on to another matter. The monks, these brothers of penance, what did you see of them?
Well, they came in just starting to make a little bit of a racket. It seemed like they were there in protest, I believe. Maybe not liking some of the knowledge that was in the library and started making a ruckus. And shortly after them visiting, that's when everything went down. I guess in the confusion, maybe they mistook us for some type of enemy and they started combat.
Ah, so there was a scuffle.
There was.
Yes, we did pull a few bodies out of the river. Appeared to be their one of their leaders and a couple others. Did you feel that your actions were in self-defense?
Absolutely, were in self-defense. I had no intention of hurting them, but they were running right at us. They just going crazy, punching us. I mean, we had to do something. They were quite obstinate.
Yes, I suppose it was probably a rather panicked situation. Well, Lordan, I have to admit I'm at a bit of a loss. Now, one moment. And he stands up and he walks to the door, and he comes back and he has the bag of holding. And he kind of starts pulling items out and setting them on the table. And he's like, I just have a few questions about some of your effects. You'll excuse that I did a little investigation here. You lot seem to have an rather interesting assortment of arcane items, which is not completely unheard of for an adventuring party like yourselves. But I do have a question about this. And he points at Titus. I had the court mage identify some of these items, and this particular dagger, this is a sentient being. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am.
Do you have reason to believe that this sentient being has any kind of nefarious motives?
Titus, which is his name, Titus is very loyal to me. I firmly believe that any motives he once had as a creature have been stripped of him for how long he's been in that dagger. And in fact, one of my goals is to eventually restore him to a sentient creature. So, living among us to get him out of that dagger.
Very well. Now, this, and he looks a little bashful for a second as he pulls out the paladin's sword and sets it on the counter. Yes. I had to ask around about this particular tome. Not exactly my genre, as it were. I try not to judge others on their particular taste in reading. However, I would like to ask where you came about this tome, because to my knowledge it is exceedingly rare.
When we were in Liber Arcanum, and I saw that woman plunge her sword into the inner sphere, I saw that book and I placed it into the bag of holding. If it seemed interesting and it seemed of importance, and I thought it would be prudent to put it in the bag of holding for safekeeping. If the whole library was going down, at least I could save something.
So, an altruistic act.
It seemed very interesting, and it is important to me to protect books.
Very well. Now, the last bit of questioning for you, Erdan. The woman that seems to have caused this incident, did you hear her say anything?
Above table, did she say something when she plunged the sword into the? I feel like she did.
She didn't say anything when she plunged the sword in the table, but I mean, you guys did have a conversation beforehand.
So, did say something beforehand.
Do you need me to review those notes?
Might be a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't.
If she didn't say anything in that moment, well, then I guess you didn't.
Yeah.
So,
I think I should say.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the beginning of it here. Oh, it starts with fuck. Hi. Hello, sister. What are you doing here? Erdan, it's very good to see you. You have taken up time, or taken up with some friends, and I see you've taken up new hobbies, which are none of my business, gesturing to the book. But I need you to go. I need you to go. She glances around nervously. You ask why. Very little time. Oh, she said something about the, like she looked at the monks and said, "We're out of time," I think.
That is correct.
Brothers of Penance will probably rattle their sabers for a little bit. Everything I'm doing is because it's the right thing to do, she said. She foresaw something terrible, doing what she has to do.
I think I know what I can say. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Back in character. She did not say anything as she was destroying the library, and she did not give any indication as to why she destroyed the library.
So she said nothing at all, just appeared and attacked the library.
She didn't say anything as she attacked the library.
Damn, confusing. Did she appear to... Did she appear distressed?
In that moment, she looked very self-assured. She knew what she was there for.
Very well. Now, I'm going to ask you one final question. And this is always the hardest one. Is there anything else that you wish to tell me, or that you think I should know as a protector of this nation? A guardian of men and women and children of many lives.
When I was adventuring previously, when I first met this group, we delved into a dungeon to save a child. There was some sacrificial magic that happened there. We did not get any answers. We do not know who these people were. We did save the child. I have a feeling that there are some greater, darker forces at play. And I am, as well as my compatriots, committed to fight against them.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty. I shall pack up your things and speak to another one of your compatriots. Sit tight. And Sir Glenn pushes back from the table and gathers up the things and puts them in the bag of holding and takes it out with him and hands it to one of the outside guards. So, here is my question to the lot of you. You bunch of liars. You bunch of people who are literally capable of lying. Do you guys want to do this same interrogation scene with each one of you individually? Or do you think that that would basically be retreading the information that was just put forward by Erdan?
I would just like to say that I've taken part of an edible, and that was extremely difficult for me.
I wanted to put the truth to you. I wanted to see if I could really hurt you, especially with that last one.
Well played, sir.
Because we can go through and do this the whole way, but if you guys are like, well, I don't know what I would add to the conversation over that, you know.
None of us know more than he did.
Candace said none of us know more than he did.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Okay.
Yeah. I can summarize. Mark would be like, I don't know, there was a lady, she did a thing, we fell, I hung on, then we fought.
I don't even know if I can read. So
I don't even have to lie. I'm fine just saying that because we already agreed to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moira would be like, I don't know what happened. Shit started falling. We were falling. Next thing I knew, the monks were trying to attack us, even though I asked them to help us fight the river monster, because then the river monster was there trying to fight us, and I almost died. And I honestly got blacked out, but we were just there for sightseeing.
I was hanging out on a couch in a river.
I almost killed my friends twice. Whoops.
All right. Well, in that case, I'm only going to ask one more question, specifically for you, Greg. And I want you to answer this honestly, because this is a thing that Blur does often. During your interrogation, would you have held the block of wood up against your head like a cell phone and asked Arthesius for his input?
Yeah. That's what
Okay,
I
then we're going to do that scene.
Boy. Oh boy.
Now remember, you passed your check, and as opposed to the Zone of Truth spell as written, because this is an enchantment and it wasn't actually the person that cast it, he has no way to know whether or not you're telling the truth or lying. The assumption is that you were telling the truth. It's kind of like swearing in on the Bible or whatever. So we're going to cut to that part of the conversation where he said, did you hear this woman say anything?
I didn't hear anything. Yeah, I didn't hear her say anything. What was what?
The thing that you just did there. What was that you just did there with that thing?
This is, this is a part of me. It speaks to me.
It speaks to you.
Yeah.
That is peculiar. What does it say?
It tells me things, reminds me things, gives me good advice for how to proceed during, interesting times.
Does it actually speak to you, or is it like an arcane or a religious symbol of some sort?
I mean, it's my religious symbol, I think I hear things from it.
Huh. Might I inspect it?
I mean, it's pretty dear to me, and so it's my my religious symbol. So I wouldn't really feel comfortable giving it up.
Roll me a persuasion check.
All right, here comes the threes. Oh, what?
Ah,
That still might not be good enough.
Oh yeah, what is my? I don't think I have anything at.
I assume you have like a -1 or a -2
Yeah,
persuasion.
I was gonna say I don't think I have, but persuasion. Yeah, it's a -1. So,
that
yeah.
Well, far be it from me to get between a man and his God. But you should, I don't know, perhaps consider seeing some sort of cleric. You said that you don't remember your past, yes? That was...
Yeah, I do not.
Perhaps a bump on the head. My apologies. Very well. Well, so on. Okay, there we go. That's fine. We can cut that there. I was just going to leave it up to a persuasion check, or if you just handed it over, that would have gone in a very different direction. Okay, so one by one, he goes through the rooms. He asks you guys questions. Because all of you, except for Erdan, could lie, I'm not going to spend the rest of the session doing those individually. Ironically enough, it went by the die, but Erdan's was the one that was the most interesting to do anyway. Obviously, he would have certain questions that would be peculiar for each one of you. For instance, with Bart, he would ask about your particular heritage. With Rizwin, he would ask, how you found yourself with this adventuring party, and with Nira, he would be very curious about why you chose to leave your tribe in Elfalane. And with Moira, I guess just kind of curious as to what your role with the party is and whatnot. But again, all of those things are kind of inane. And again, you all could lie. So moving along, after a couple hours go by, Sir Glenn leads you all out of the rooms and back out back to the bunk room that you guys were staying in. And he says, right, so I have to admit that when I first brought you all in, I did not believe that you had tact, but I was under the assumption that perhaps you all had some kind of knowledge of the events that took place. Unfortunately, it seems that this was the act of some terrorist of some sort, which is good news in a way, because there was a second theory that we were working under. But given the conversations that we had with you and the conversations that we had with the monks, we are going to step away from that particular assumption, which I will have to speak with the king about that. You see, the Brothers of Penance, though they may have some tie in photos, they are originally from Relon, given the religious nature of that nation. And given that the king is about to wed the princess of Relon, the notion that a state that is run by the church, members of said church would enact a terrorist attack. Well, that could have been war. But hopefully we have avoided that. Seems like it's a bit more of just some individual. So, it will be my job to find that individual. And perhaps I will call upon you all to aid me in that endeavor. But for the time being, I must report to the king. I will have your effects returned to you, and the king himself may wish to speak with you, or perhaps his steward would wish to speak with you. So I would ask that you do not leave the castle grounds until I return with word. Is that suitable for all of you? Very well. Thank you. Sir Glenn sees himself out to give you guys time to regather yourselves.
Anybody else want some more soup?
I could eat.
Still have some?
We skipped breakfast.
Yeah.
We've been sitting in rooms alone for hours. Let's get some food.
I think we ate last part.
Do we want to go visit Boyardee? Boyardee? How do we say his name again? It's very foreign to me.
Biardi.
Biardi. Biardi.
B apostrophe Y A-R-D-I. Biardi.
Biardi. Biardi. Okay.
He's the chef here. His name is Rock Biardi.
I love it.
Do we want to go visit him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he has beer.
Did we ever taste the bread?
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I assume that in the time that you guys were taking your long rest, you popped in for a second bowl and some bread. But you pop in again, and once again, at this point, the room is actually rather full because there are people having their like mid-morning, second breakfast sort of rush. So Biardi is just kind of running back and forth, laying bowls and plates in front of people, and anyway, everybody goes, "Oh, hey, it's y'all again. Why don't you come in and have a seat? I'll be right with you." And keeps scrambling around. You notice that a lot of the guards are now like interestedly looking at you guys, and one guard in particular, a young olive-toned man with some, who yesterday had some scruff on his face but now seems clean-shaven, approaches your table, and he bows and says, "Hey there, I'm I don't know if y'all remember. I was the one that was assigned to watch after y'all yesterday. My name's Warwick. Not on duty right now, so figured I'd come over and say hello. Miss, and he kind of smiles and waves at Moira. I hope the reading was to your liking.
Very much, thank you.
No sweat. I thought you all would like to know that they're pulling the library out of the river. They got a whole, and I gotta be honest, I'm just a regular dog, right? But they got a lot of the wizards over there at the college. Even some of the students they have working on it. They're all kind of doing some kind of levitation thing together. Going on right now if you want to see. It's quite a sight. And if he's offering to lead you guys over to a place where you can watch this salvage mission in progress. If not, that's fine. See, like doing that thing where you awkwardly stand there and just kind of look at a group of people.
Yeah, I'm just interested to see if they got any wedding cake back there.
I don't think they're married yet.
Yeah.
Surely they're making test cakes, though.
Yeah, test cakes.
What did I miss?
Laura's asking for a cake from the kitchens.
Yeah, the wedding
Like
cake.
for the royal wedding?
No, the wedding that's coming up. The
Yeah,
royal
the
wedding.
wedding that's coming up.
Yeah, the royal wedding. Is there cake in the back?
Well, I mean, I don't rightfully know, but I mean, I'd assume not. And if there were, I'd assume that you wouldn't get any of it, given that it's the king's cake.
Worth a shot.
Right.
Well, we weren't really, as much as I think we'd all love to see the giant thing that almost killed us yesterday. We're not allowed to leave the castle grounds.
Oh, no, of course. No, I was talking about from the balcony.
Oh,
You
I
can
mean-
you can look over the veranda and you can see it coming out of the river.
okay. I mean, there's nothing else going on.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to follow him, that's where he's headed. So he's like, that's where I'm going. And I'm going to join me.
Is there a crowd over there?
What?
Is it crowded on the veranda?
I mean, you guys would have to follow him to see.
Can't be any less crowded than this place, or more crowded than this place. Bark balls.
Breakfast is quite popular. Oh, I'm about to go.
Yeah, but also the mess hall's full. Bart goes to see if there's less people over there.
Sure. As you, what?
So who all goes?
Dan, are you going with to the veranda?
Flirt?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay. So as you guys walk down a hallway and out to the veranda, it's this beautiful patio space. It is actually rather filled with people at the moment that are all kind of clambered to the railing, because what you can see past them is that they're on both banks of the river. There is just a line of mages. and they all seem to be concentrating on the same kind of spell. And this massive sphere is slowly raising out of the water, like Yoda did with the X-Wing fighter in Empire Strikes Back, right? It's just massive thing, like pouring out, and there's water pouring out of the holes in it, and it is a sight to behold, right? Like this massive building being levitated by dozens of mages all working in tandem, basically all casting levitate on sections of it together. And as you guys come out onto the veranda, a couple things happen as you're watching this. First, Erdan, you get a weird little kind of ping in the back of your brain where you can clearly hear a message. But it feels odd because it doesn't feel like someone saying a thing to you. It feels like someone saying all the words simultaneously. If you want to roll me an insight check to figure out exactly what is going on.
8.
Okay. Well, then you can't tell exactly why it's working this way, but for whatever reason, you basically just got a message. And the message is short, but you instinctively know that it's from your sister. You can feel it in the back of your mind. And all it says is, "I'm sorry. I hope you're okay." And that's it. It's a very short message. The second thing that happens is that Sir Glenn enters the veranda and kind of has to hop up on the railing in order to see because he's very small. And glances over at you and says, "Well, thank the gods that are going to be able to pull it out of the river. I don't know what they're going to do for all the books, but perhaps with their magics they'll be able to do something. Anyway, you lot, I have been asked to escort you to see the king. Post haste. So I would ask that you all follow me this way." And he turns once more and looks out at the Arcanum. And anyone can roll me a perception or an insight check if they wish.
Ten.
Once again, Bark.
Yeah. I'm surprised I'm still rolling decent.
Yeah, Fleur, you're doing well.
Yeah. Doesn't even really matter right now.
Bark, with that check, were you doing insight or were you doing perception?
That was insight.
Okay. With that check, you can see a look on this frogman's face, especially when he said, "I hope they can do something to recover the knowledge lost there," meaning, the book's damaged by water. And the look on his face is a combination of sad at the loss, but also a deep, deep trepidation. And the sense of loss and fear in his eyes is to that of like, oh, there's a personal stake here for him. Like you get that sense from the look that you see in his eye as he's just staring at this object. But then he shakes himself and this is the first time since you guys have seen him and the whole interrogation that for a moment you saw like real emotion in this person. Like yeah, he spoke kind of casually with you during the interview, but this was like a genuine moment of vulnerability that you caught him in. But he straightens back up and flips his cape around and says, "Now, if you all would follow me this way." And he leads you guys. I know this whole session is a lot of leading you here and leading you there. I'd have you on rails a bit, I suppose. He leads you guys to the main hall and further back around a bend to some private quarters. And in these private quarters, there are just a line of guards that are in this like hallway. And they are all in the blue and silver. These are the Imperial Guard. And as you guys enter the room, sitting before you, behind a large, dark wood desk, poring over some papers, is a man that you immediately can gather is the king. He's kind of portly, a little bit into his middle age. It looks like the blonde of his hair and beard have gone mostly salt and pepper at this point. But still has kind of a strength to him. The kind of strength that comes from being raised your entire life to do one job, and that's to be responsible for everybody. And he looks up at you all, and Sir Glenn takes a knee in front of him.
Bark, I guess, kind of bows.
I'll also curtsy.
Down with his long, overly formal bow with the cape.
Nero, Rizwan, Fleur, are any of you guys bowing to the king?
Yeah, of course I bow. I'm like, "Hurr."
I'm gonna do like a respectful nod. That's about it. I'm not full on bowing. I'm religious, and that's not what we do. So no.
Okay. And you?
I'm trying to think. Do we know a like history of whether or not I would have gotten along with this guy?
You can roll a history check.
I feel like the Black Knight from Monty Python.
I didn't vote for you.
You don't really know much about the guy. Your people kind of keep to themselves, and the politics of man's world is their shit to deal with.
Well, cool. I will join Rizwan in a respectful nod from the back.
The king, King Christopher Windshire, kind of looks over his reading glasses at you all and gives a kind of a dismissive wave as to like, relax, you can, you don't have to, whatever. By the way, as this is happening, Sir Glenn is just face down at the floor and like just waiting, right? Like he is just like like this guy is obviously a company man. But he waves and he goes, "Oh, please get up." Or sorry, yeah. I don't want him to sound exactly like Sir Glenn. Please get up. I, as you all well know, am King Windshire, King Christopher the Seventh, as it were. In any case, I was told that you lot the Accidental Alliance, is it? were involved in the rescue of Port Naro, as well as the, well, what appears to be an attempted protection of the Labor Macan, or at least a survival therein. Well, it would appear that the people of Bodos owe you all a great debt of gratitude. And I do as well as your king. However, gratitude does not pay. But a king can. He gestures over, and kind of out of nowhere comes this individual that there's no way that you guys did not see this person, right? Because they didn't like come out of a back room. Just all of a sudden there's a guy there, right? And it's almost like the sense that like you knew he was there, but you didn't even realize he was there until he like made his presence known. This guy kind of has what I can only describe as a driftiness to him. He wears a long robe, so you can't actually see his feet, and the way he moves is very smooth, as if there's no stutter to his step at all. He is a tall, lanky, elven man with like a reddish gold hair, and for the life of you, he looks like a skeleton. He's very gaunt, right, and very pale. And he leans forward, and the king looks at him and he goes, Salazar, do me a favor and bring forward the bring forward the what's the damn word? The ledger. Bring forth the ledger. And the elven man says, "Of course, Your Highness," and turns and does this weird kind of glidey walk away. And he comes back with a rather large book and sets it in front of the king. And the king glances over it for a little bit and makes a couple notes with his quill and turns to you all and says, for the services that you've rendered, I would say, and obviously for a deal of recompense for the nastiness yesterday, I would like to offer you all a bit of coin and, well, you're an adventuring party, right? A job, if you would be willing to accept it. First, we can talk money. For the services that you have rendered and for the events yesterday, in which you were forced to defend your lives after you were inside an institution that is owned by the king, the crown, and were forced to defend your lives therein, and were almost then therefore slain by my personal river guardian, I will render onto each one of you 250 gold pieces as a recompense. I hope that this is acceptable to all of you.
It's very generous.
Do not be afraid to speak. We are speaking frankly here. I may be a king, but I am also a man. Speak to me.
Well, I will speak Erdanly. Instead of frankly, because my name is not Frank, it is Erdan. Thank you very graciously for this gift of gold.
Well, to be entirely honest, it's the least I can do. You all did a very good thing in Port Naro from all of my understanding. Now, that leads me on to the next bit of business. As long as we're talking of gold. As I said before, I have a job for you. Perhaps you saw information posted about it on one of our message boards. To this point, we have not received any adventuring parties willing to take on the job, and it is beyond the purview of the work of standard Imperial Guard, City Guard, as it were. We've lost some miners down in the sewers. There was a cave-in. They sent some in to find out what had happened, to excavate the site, and they have disappeared. I would very much like to figure out what is going on there. And now that I know that you lot are trustworthy and handy in a fight, I would hope that you would do this for me.
Erdan turns to everybody. Well, we've got nothing better going on.
Do you have like a timeline for this, sir?
Well, as soon as possible, as I would rather not those men die down there, if it can be helped. Thus far, it's been a week.
A week.
6 days, to be precise.
Whoa.
Long time to be trapped.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, the curious thing about it is they went in there to excavate after the cave-in. So it's not as though they were caved in. But they never came out.
If there was a cave-in, I wonder if there was something down there that they encountered.
It's something that I fear.
It's times like these I wish I had a library to consult.
That joke, as it were, is in rather poor taste.
Wasn't it?
Too soon. Too soon.
However, in any case, if you are all willing to take the job, you will be paid handsomely for your services. And if you can bring out anyone alive, even more so.
I mean, you can fix this.
What?
You said you'd pay me handsomely.
Is your friend an incomplete?
Entirely, but it's very entertaining.
Very well. There are two other quick matters that I wish to discuss with you. The first is an additional thank you. Because the first report that came out from those other people that were witness to what the events of the Liberorum's fall were that the Brothers of Penance entered and started screaming and causing trouble. And that could have been very, very bad for me. Because I was under the assumption up until your interrogation with Sir Glenn that I might have to imprison my young bride-to-be and ransom her against a nation and go to war with a religion. As you can imagine, it's been a hard day. But given the information that you all gave me and the discrediting of the individual actors by R'hllon's High Septum, I think that war will be avoided for another day. That is first. The second thing, that child, and he points right past Fleur at Tup Tup. I know, little one, what you are. And Tup Tup's like, I also understand why you are hiding yourself, and I get it. I have ordered my men to hunt down and kill a lot of your kin. Now, I do not hold each one of you responsible for the goings-on of whatever. I have only news of the things that you did in Cordaro, and the fact that you're with this adventuring party now, and that you have chosen not to stab any of them in the back or attempt to eat them. Therefore, I can only assume that you are somehow enlightened. However, I am not, how do I put this? There is a dangerous line that is often being moved back and forth, back and forth. It is a line between order and chaos. And what I have found very recently is that in order to quell the tides of chaos comes a firm fist of order. I'm going to ask, and I hate to do this, because you seem to be one of the good ones. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. I'm going to have to ask you to leave my kingdom. And Tup glances around and looks up at Fleur and all around. I want you to understand that what I'm saying here is that there have been attacks on villages. There have been people slaughtered. I have to do what is best for my people. And I'm not asking for your head. I'm not going to throw you in a dungeon. I am merely asking you to go.
Okay, good sire. We do respect you and your utmost leniency in this matter. However, this creature is under our care and our protection, and if you want us to stick around and go save your miners, he comes with us, because we can't, he's like a child and we can't just throw him out into the forest. So that's not how that's going to work today. So I'm gonna have to ask that you reconsider your options and continue to have leniency in this matter and give us until the end of saving your miners before you kick him out of your kingdom.
Roll me a persuasion check.
I don't have very good persuasion.
Probably shouldn't have spoken up then.
I know, but I was hoping that the whole cleric thing would roll.
Can you cast guidance on yourself?
What?
I said, can you cast guidance on yourself?
I don't know.
The joke is, can you touch yourself?
So it was, what is it? It's persuasion, right?
That is the roll. Yep.
So 4 plus 16 is a 20.
During
Oh, you have a +4 to persuasion. Look at you. All right. He looks over at his steward, Salazar, and Salazar looks kind of dubious, but he looks back and says, there is a place, to my understanding, in Andalia, the island nations, the archipelago fucking hate that word, archipelago. To my knowledge, that there is a refuge there for peoples that do not wish to stay in their ancestral homelands. Specifically, to my knowledge, there is a goblin village, a community of some sort. I'm not too familiar. I think that would be a good place, perhaps. Really, it doesn't matter to me. But, as this one is a member of your adventuring party, I would allow you, Tup, to remain incognito until such a point that your job here is done. And then I would ask you to quietly leave. You will be given papers with which you could emigrate from the country, and I will do everything in my power to make that process easy on you. But these are my terms.
Your Highness, with all due respect, if a member of our party is not welcome here, I do not mean tolerated, I mean welcome. And neither are we. And we are glad to leave your lands. We are not looking to cause any unnecessary unrest. But know that as a creature, he has as much worth and dignity as any of us. And leading from fear will not prevent the things that you would not see come to pass.
So we thank you very much for the opportunity to serve you and save your miners. And we will be sure to keep Tup close to us and protected in the meantime.
And
I will have you know.
oh,
What is your name?
Nira of Ilthalane.
I will have you know, Nira of Ilthalane, that there are very few people in this country, in this world, that have the sheer balls to speak to me the way that you just did. A king is not commanded. A king is not given ultimatums. A king is petitioned. He is begged. Many, many people beg.
I'm smiling above table. Not in character. Sorry. Let me look at my face.
And he turns and looks over at Salazar, who is just like furiously staring at you, right? Like, this man is very clearly angry at this impasse.
Well, again, Your Highness, with all due respect, those who would not speak honestly with you do so to the detriment of the kingdom.
Well, the point I was about to make was that I often find myself surrounded by sniveling cowards that would sooner bite my ankle as if they had the fucking chance to do so. But actually meeting someone on the field of battle is a thing I haven't done in a very long time. And I appreciate your goal.
Well, again, Your Highness, no disrespect was meant. And if I, in speaking candidly, made you feel as though you were on the battlefield again, I'm glad to do so.
I hope you all, you, Mira, Adilphilane, you, Tup Tup, I hope you all can understand, or can attempt to understand, the very delicate position I am in. I have had many people, nobles, commoners, come to me and beg me to exterminate, eradicate this entire kind. It is not something that I wish to do. However, I have to figure out something. These things are difficult. Moreover, political tensions are not always the easiest. And if I appear weak, I will be swallowed up by my enemies. This is the burden of being king. Sometimes you have to pretend like you know what you're doing. And Salazar just like audibly gulps. And Sir Glenn is just like frozen, right? The king is speaking very candidly right now. I'm not going to pretend like I like my options. The world used to be easier. Things have been crazy recently. Between raids by goblins on towns and caravans and problems going on with these brothers of penance and their bullshit that they've been peddling. I often don't know what to do. But I can tell you two things. First, I have lived through war and storm and plague and famine, and I have not died yet. This country still stands. Two, I'll figure it out eventually. Now, I grow weary. I ask that you all gather yourselves, rest, do what you need to do, but please do look into the matter that I have requested of you, if you so wish, if you are agreeing to accept the job. In the meantime, Rizwin, I will honor your request to allow your compatriot to travel along with you to do this thing. And for you, Miss Mira, I will take your words under advisement, for there is wisdom in your courage. Arrogance, but courage. There is wisdom. Perhaps the free peoples of Ilfilane have a more egalitarian view of society, and that is not always a bad thing. But that is what will do for us now. And he goes to stand, and as he does, Sir Glenn and Salazar both bow.
You guys went silent. You guys all went silent.
Or something.
I think Riley. Oh no, she's not locked. Okay, that was weird. We can't hear.
Riley, say something.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
So for a while there, it looked like you were talking, but you weren't saying anything.
There it went quiet again.
Are you fucking with us right now?
Riley? Hello?
Like,
I
I'm
think
so
Riley
confused.
is frozen.
Riley's frozen right now.
But Ben's not.
Ben,
Riley's moving.
Yeah, hers keeps freezing. You're moving now.
Okay. Can you
Oh,
guys
now
hear me?
we can hear you.
yes.
Jesus Christ, how long ago did it cut out?
As the king stands,
showed up.
Glenn's and Salazar bow.
Oh, okay, so it just happened. Thank God. Because I thought that I just fucking monologued for like 30 minutes.
No, if that happened to me, it'd be like, hello.
Yeah,
I've
Right.
been like calling you like, hey, you guys cut out.
like 20 minutes ago.
I just had a minor panic attack. Anyway, so yeah, the king stands up and excuses himself and walks away, and Sir Glenn is just like turns on his heel and kind of gestures for you all to follow him out of the king's personal quarters.
Cool, cool.
Cool beans. So
Should we
we
go
followed
shopping?
Glenn.
Pick up my helmet before we descend into our new path.
Well, before you guys lies a mission, and as you start to walk out, Sir Glenn says to you, would it perchance be possible for an old knight to accompany you on your trek down to find the miners?
How old is this knight we're talking about? Because if he's a liability, like,
Do I look like
Whoa,
a
above-
liar?
okay, we're above table. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not gonna be like, I don't know, dude. You might be old and dusty, like.
Oh, I thought for a moment that Nero was saying like, "What night?" And he was gonna be like, "I am the night."
No.
I mean,
Is he spry or is he a little more well seasoned?
you guys saw him swim like a fucking devil across the water to get that. You know what I mean? Like, he seems like he can handle himself. He walks regally and proudly.
I think it would behoove us to take any help but offered.
Yeah, this might be a good idea.
You did kind of save our ass last time.
I was actually gonna ask if he wanted to join us. Because he knows the lay of the land with the area, the tunnels. Maybe talk to the water elemental, see if they can go down in there and how far into the like underground areas
It's
might
a,
be.
it's a mine, not a river tunnel.
Yeah, but mines are under like ground. Might be like a little underwater, like lake or something underground there. I don't know.
Right. Well, that's something we could definitely look into. But for the moment, I've spent so much of my days nowadays training soldiers, and not enough time actually seeing any combat or action. And you would be doing an old knight a great service to allow him to join. Upon my word, I shall not let you down.
Sounds good. When did you want to start this this cave delving?
As soon as possible.
We should probably gear up and head out tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I'm thinking like, we go outside the city to our little encampment to gear up, right? and then we'll be back in the morning.
You wish to leave
Isn't
the city?
Kind of far away.
I don't know, just a little bit down there to the encampment where there's like this building with legs.
Ah,
Did you say building with legs?
Yep.
The witch. You have business with the witch.
I need to buy some supplies from her for my spells. So yeah, it would be a good idea if we.
yeah.
That's all that Fleur is trying to say, is that we have supplies that she will probably have.
Yeah, we both cast magic and it's hard to locate spells supplies. Sometimes they're really rare and witches are typically the best ones at getting them. So, very magic-y stuff.
I mean, roll me a deception check, right?
I mean, I'm not lying. I need to get like something. I forget what.
Do you want to roll or do you want me to?
Yeah, but y'all are trying to obfuscate the truth a little bit, right?
I'm not good at deception.
What's
I
your
know.
athletics modifier?
1.
Oh, god damn it!
Oh!
I have 10!
That's where he looks at you both and he says, "You need not be deceitful with me, miladies. I too have had business with the witch in the past. And that is where we're going to go ahead and wrap up our session.
Okay. Good timing, because both of our tiny children just came out to say
Don't
hello.
level this on.
Ah,
This one's the.
Oh,
Hi.
look at that.
Wait, father.
Yeah, there. People, okay, crutches. Can you take them back to the bedroom?
Hello.
Hello.
You're on mute.
Well, some people are.
Wait, I
Mom's on mute, but
want
they can hear you over here.
They do.
Meta wants to show you all something.
Well, bye.
Adorable.
Right, say good night. Go ahead and lay down. I'll come in a minute and I'll talk to you. Okay.
So everyone, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I know that tonight's session was a little bit drier, but we had some story stuff we had to get through.
I liked it.
I thought, yeah, no, we got through a lot of like stuff that we needed to do.
Role playing is the best part for me, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I hope you guys didn't mind a third person helping with note taking.
No, that was awesome.
helpful.
Like, it was honestly the best. Like,
think we
usually
flowed
Steve and
really-
I are
And actually,
impossible to keep up with it, so that was very much appreciated.
Oh, okay, good.
we're constantly trying to figure out what Ben said through the garbly poor connection. So it actually really helps to
Yeah,
have
like
someone on the
having
other
me
end.
there next to him was so
Yeah.
great.
It's really helpful.
All right, cool. Then I'm glad it wasn't too many chefs in the kitchen, and we'll
Yeah, sorry, your connection too much, but normally we can hear you, but there's times where we're like, what was that?
Well, I also like to do a lot of random accents, and sometimes I babble a bit, so that's understandable.
All right, I'm gonna end this session or the recording, and yeah.